Hi darlings, how are you? Hope you've had a good week. It's Deborah here again for your weekly, possibly little tiny rant, possibly tiny little kick up the pants, come to check on how your tracking's going. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why menopause information isn't enough and how to talk to colleagues. And I know it sounds probably like they're not really linked, but they are. And you'll see how. Obviously you need info to talk to your colleagues and choosing the right stuff. So I just wanted to start by actually thanking Patricia and Juliet and Amanda and Jackie, who replied to the little survey-ette that I ran last week, asking you where you got your menopause info from. It was very interesting. The majority was from books and then from menopause sites. And I suppose what I have found over the years of, not using the sites and then researching them and trying to pull out the best info for, for everybody, for the work that I do, is that, overwhelmingly, it is fantastic that these sites exist. I mean, it's absolutely essential because, some of them are really quite new. And they made a huge difference to women. I mean, I know when I started looking for information after I was told I had peri-menopause, which I hadn't heard of before, I ran home, Googled peri-menopause, and there's all these medical sites. Absolutely ghastly. I read it and I was utterly horrified. I mean, it just sounded like every single organ, every single body part was just crumbling. And I didn't want to know, actually. It was horrifying. And so it took me a little bit of time to actually find websites by women who had had very bad menopause symptoms, as I had. And they were completely different, a completely different tone, obviously. They weren't all, half of them, in Latin or, terribly medicalised, which is obviously, it can be off-putting unless you are a medical person. The thing that I found then, they're very supportive, but the thing that I did find, hi there Amanda, was that they still focus symptom by symptom, sort of, body part by body part. And they're probably, I'm not sure of too many different ways to do it, but it is something that I, over the years, have noticed is a bit of a gap because we don't exist as only a compilation of body parts. And also, I think, so that's one of the gaps, I think. And one of the other things is that I do think all the information is still completely overwhelming without somebody to curate or guide it for you, frankly. Because, when you do Google and there's the 34 symptoms or the 64 symptoms or the 75, I mean, it's enough to make you run away in horror and put your head in the sand. And no wonder many women do that. It's got better on the brain side. Certainly when I started researching, it was all about your ovaries and your uterus. And in fact, it's so much more than that. Some of the information about the brain and brain science has developed significantly, and all the gynecological things, the atrophy, etc., is starting slowly to become more centre stage, which is really, really great. One of the things that I think is a gap on both the medical and the menopause sites, actually, is the fact that, and I'm hoping to see more of this, I'm certainly doing more work on this as well, is the phases. Because the symptoms do change depending on what phase of either perimenopause or menopause you're in. So you need to know. And yet what I tend to see is that it's just like menopause lumped together. Now, the definition I use is menopause is, from the day your periods start till the day you die, possibly about 35 years. Then you've also got the 10 years of perimenopause. So, I mean, that's like 45 years. You can't lump it into one. I mean, I've worked out that there's probably, absolutely, Amanda, I think that there's about, 4 or 5 phases of this important time in your life. There's early perimenopause when women are particularly vulnerable. I think, because obviously that's when the ignorance and the lack of information is at its worst, sort of thing. Then you've got later perimenopause, menopause, early postmenopause, etc., etc. The symptoms change. You need to have that information clear as to what phase you're in, so you know what to expect. The other thing I think that the menopause sites certainly highlighted for me was a complete lack of general knowledge about how our bodies work. I mean, you know, I thought it was only me, but fortunately other women have told me it's not. I mean, I felt like I had to do like human biology O-level again. I had no idea what your hormones did. I had no idea that estrogen was in every single nook and cranny of my entire body. No idea, no clue. And I thought her hormones were mine forever. I had no idea that they left us, and in such a dramatic way. No idea. So no idea that my brain needed estrogen. None. So the fact that that is still, like, the menopause sites are sort of separate from the general health and wellness sites of women over 40, I think means that the sort of symptoms are in isolation a bit to the rest of our lives, and I don't and I think that that can be worked on. It has got a bit better, but you should have to look at the data on stress in women, which is so high. So that whole stress reduction piece, it's there, but it's hidden, and it's too hidden as far as I'm concerned. As you know, I bang on about stress reduction. It's got to be number one, and that's the other thing that's missing, is you get lots of solutions, lots of lists, but there's no hierarchy, there's no guidance about, well, which bit do you do first? 8 of this, 4 of that, 5 things to do this, that and the other. We're all guilty of it. I've done it as well, but the number one has got to be that. You're looking at stress reduction. So that leads on to another bit that I think is that, you know, information is great, life-changing, fantastic, you need it. But without action and without a plan, it's pleasant, nice, need to know. But actually, I know from personal experience, I lurched around for years with info swirling around my head with lists of this and lurching to, oh, try food, or try exercise, or try this. There was no as I said, hierarchy of what to do first, and that's when you need the proper plan. But for your body, for your life, for the phase you're in, and it's got to start, obviously, you know, banging on again about the stress reduction piece. But the thing is that I've noticed is that if you know, if you're stressed in your 20s and 30s, then there's no doubt your menopause symptoms are going to get worse. It's not the menopause doing it to you. And what I've also noticed is that at work, if there's a major problem, all of you, I'm absolutely sure, and I know I certainly would do that, you set up a team, you chuck resources at it, you maybe bring in a consultant, and you track things daily, weekly, monthly, if there's a new issue that you need to manage at work. Why would you not do that for yourself and your body? Why are women not tracking their symptoms? Why are we not setting up the plan to do this? Because from the day you identify the problems, you should be feeling considerably better within 3 months, not years. I lost years of my life because of I didn't know what to do and there wasn't stuff in place. I don't want other women to do the same. So that's where my urging comes. Not years. Sort it out. Get a grip. We've got to sort this out. There's no reason for anybody to be suffering. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. The final gap, I think, that I wanted to mention was that I only started feeling great about the menopause when I heard Dr. Christian Northrup speaking. She was speaking, she's an amazing American doctor, and she's speaking to Dr. Sarah Gottfried, who's another amazing American doctor, and Dr. Pedram Shoja, who's another amazing American doctor, and I love them all. And they're all medical doctors, but who now work in the functional medicine arena. They're holistic doctors, and they were spellbinding, and they were the ones that said, this is an amazing period in your life. You don't have symptoms get in your way. You need to be setting big goals. You need to be contributing to your world. And Dr. Christian Northrup's got this amazing expression, which he says, women over 40, we are like mouthy 12-year-olds, but with credit card and wisdom. I absolutely love that. And Sarah Gottfried was the one who coined the phrase about, you choose. Are you choosing to decline and go down the hormonal flight of stairs, or are you choosing to step up? And I just thought, wow, they really spoke to me. And that's when I realised that that source of information, you know, that's not coming from the medical sites. That's not, that to me then, that wasn't coming also from the menopause sites. As I said, it was symptom by symptom. So I think that leads into why and how you talk to your colleagues, because the thing is that I made lots of mistakes, and it's been really interesting to hear from Amanda and Jackie today about the sorts of things that family have said. You get completely sideswiped. I made all sorts of assumptions. I assumed that women, because they were women, would understand. That's wrong. I mean, it is just wrong. I mean, certainly when I tentatively spoke to a couple of younger women, they were quite revolted by what I was telling them. They're like, ugh, yuck, ugh, you're old. And that made me feel even worse. So you have to, the reason you have to be sorted yourself is because you've got to deal with that. Do you know what I mean? And it makes you feel very, very tentative, very anxious, and makes you lose even more confidence. The thing that I think is really important is that if you go around assuming or thinking, worrying like I did, you've got early onset Alzheimer's, dementia, or, some dreadful thing going on, like I was muttering, going up and down corridors, forgetting what I was doing, your colleagues will, if you think you're mad, your colleagues will think you are too. So you need to put them out of your misery. And I know that lots of people are really uncomfortable about doing it, but actually, with the right preparation, I'm not saying just sort of launch in, with the right preparation, it can make a huge difference to how you feel. And you do need to plan it. And again, that's part of the plan. Who are the 5 colleagues you need to tell? Who are you saying what to? The first person has to be your boss. Now, whether you like them or, can't stand them, there's ways to, deal with it. And absolutely, you do not need to give personal information. And the good thing about I think now I've learned to talk about it, puberty in reverse, and bringing humour to it as much as you possibly can, because actually it just lightens the situation. And actually, people are looking to you to lead them, to guide them. And that's why the clearer you can be, the less frazzled, the more sorted about this symptom does this and I need that, the better it'll be. So you need to be clear that this is a fantastic phase of life, but like puberty, there's changes that I need to make. I'm going to be introducing ways of working smarter and differently. I'm looking at stress, all those things I should have done before, and really leading the changes that you need to be making, monitoring your symptoms and showing that you're understanding and you're fully in charge of the situation, that you might need to work from home sometimes, you might need to work less for this particular period of time, for this particular phase, because of these particular symptoms. But if you're scrabbling around and you don't even know what the symptoms are or how long you think they're going to last, then that doesn't help you. That doesn't help you at work. It really doesn't. And the idea of here is to get back to the top of your game. So you want to start with your boss, facts and figures ready. And Amanda, I know, has done a lot of work on this, and I'm sure she can share more on, how she did it, because there are actually some very good guidelines around. Exactly, you do. You need to be open and have a laugh, actually. The sooner you can get a hot flush out into the open, it just takes the tension out of situations. And I absolutely guarantee you that your team particularly will be so relieved that you're not mad or dying. When I started talking to one woman, she actually said that all of them thought I had brain cancer or something because I was so mad. So you're busy thinking about yourself because you're so anxious about it, but actually this does have an impact and you don't want it to. People don't pretend when they're 6 months pregnant, do they? I mean, they get support. So we do have to feel that we can do that as well. So I think one thing just to add to that is obviously that, you need to know your rights at work, certainly in the UK, and I'm sure in the US, women cannot be discriminated against as a result of menopause symptoms. There's been a big push, certainly around World Menopause Day, to get menopause as part of the inclusion policies, which I know, Amanda, you've done. Because that's what it is. It shouldn't be separate and on its own. It needs to be part of the organisation's inclusion policy. And then, actually, after you've spoken about it once, and when you're clear what you have, what your issues are, and what requirements you have of your boss or your team, you're super interested in your menopause symptoms. After that, no one will be. And not for very long, to be honest. They just want to get on with their jobs and their lives, and they want to know you're all right. Good point, Amanda. Yeah, asking for stress risk assessments at work, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that I completely agree with that, but I think also, you know, you also have to know what are your triggers, what are your stressors, and what are the hidden saboteurs that might be making your symptoms worse. I mean, absolutely. So a two-prong attack, you know, yourself stepping up and managing your symptoms, as well as getting and influencing, you know, workplace policies, etc. So what was I going to say? Right, so just to finish, my question to you, really, to all of you, is what's stopping you doing your tracking? What is making the symptoms, or the you know, the severity of the symptoms stay, you know, so long? What is it that you need to do? And to me, I think part of it, look forward to your feedback, but I think part of it is not having that accountability, and I certainly think that that's a big thing, and I think that's right. Amanda's come in with another point about we're our own worst enemies. I completely agree. I know I was definitely that estrogen people-pleasing hormone, trying to please everybody, putting everybody first rather than ourselves, doesn't work. You've got to stop that. You've got to get out of your own way. And so, like I said, support, accountability. Information is not enough. You have to take action. It's got to be systematic. You've got to track your symptoms, and you should be better within 3 months, no doubt. So if you think that booking a call with me and possibly looking at one of the programs that I've put together would be useful for you, then, you know, wherever that boxy thing is that says book a call, and you'd like to have one, then I'd love that, so click that. But remember that the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I did lose years of my life, and I really don't want other women to do that, when there is a crafted plan, like a hierarchy of what to do when, that I can, you know, that I've designed, pulled together, etc. So loads of yummy love, and look forward to your feedback and any observations and comments. I think we'll talk, I'll do it in another live, about certainly talking with families and friends, because that's a whole other ball game, especially partners and husbands. I wrote a piece a few years ago actually about the 4 types of husbands that I've come across over the years, and the different sorts of approaches you need for different types of hubbies. So I'll look forward to sharing that with you some other time. So hope to hear from you soon, and have a great weekend. Lots of love. Bye.